Today is 26th of March 2023. It's a warm welcome once again on Smart 24 TV. We're going to have a look at this business edition on the stories that we normally compile in the days of the week. Among the stories we're going to look at is the Kenya protest that has costed Kenya over $40 billion. That's according to the governor of Kenya over there. And then another story is about the government of Uganda's move to construct primary schools and secondary schools in every parish that it happens to not having schools over there. And more of the stories will be coming up when you stay around. My name is Pedison Mombere. Welcome once again. The business edition starts now. Like I said, the Democratic Republic of Kenya is recording a revenue loss of over 40 million in Kenyan shillings over there that came due to the protests that are led by the biggest opposition leader, Raila Odinga. Let's have more of this very story that happened over there.
According to Kenya Deputy President, the government has lost about 40 million shillings due to protests due to the property damage, loss of business revenue and increased security costs. Many people avoided Nairobi's central business district due to fear of their property being damaged, hence slow response towards business contribution and daily progress.
This morning, because of lack of business in the CBD, the country has lost almost 2 billion shillings in terms of business. And this is money that should have been circulating in the economy. The events that are being organized by the opposition is not good for business, it's not good for the economy. And we want to ask the organizers to consider this afternoon to call off the mayhem and the chaos so that those who did not open their businesses and shops can go back to work this afternoon.
The KRA revenue collection from the KRA is 70 to 80 millilitres, with approximately 40 million lost during the protests. Then KRA is expected to lose more. For instance, if the protests continue as planned, the predicted 40 million loss every Monday would result in a revenue loss of 160 million to an already fragile economy. While the incoming government administration prioritizes domestic revenue mobilization to close the budget deficit, KRA is likely to face pressure and increase its collection. An estimated 160 million income loss, including infrastructure losses and business closures, will make it difficult for the agency to collect at least 173 billion each month to meet its 2.071 trillion objective this fiscal year. The Kenya Stock Exchange, however, showed resiliency and capacity to carry on even under trying conditions. This demonstrates the effectiveness of the exchange system and practices, as well as the participants' and regulatory dedications to upholding a dependable and stable financial system in Kenya. This brings the question of whether the Azimio protest in the long run will achieve its intended objective or instead crumble the already broken economy.
That's the story coming up from the Democratic Republic of Kenya. The biggest problem that they are choosing the ruling president, that's William Ruto. They're saying that he has failed to control the high cost of living. Of course, that's what has sparked those protests over there in Nairobi. But according to the governor of Uganda, this has costed the country over 40 million in Kenyan money. Now getting to another story here. IGAD is the Intergovernment Authority on Development, is set to open up a security office here in Kampala that is going to tackle issues of food insecurity in the country. I saw the Minister of Internal Affairs, J.J. Odong, talking to some of the officials from the IGAD over there. Our story was compiled by Rona Nahaw, and let's have what she had to compile over there.
Your Excellency, dear brother, most welcome. How are you, my brother?
Very happy to see you.
Climate change impact has taken a drastic direction that in turn has affected agriculture among other economic activities, eventually amounting to food insecurity. According to Waknich Gebehu, a regional security office will be set up in Kampala with joint support from World Bank. The close to 94 billion shillings initiative is to tame regional food crisis taking on major African nations.
The economic issues is the issue of food security. In terms of food security and insecurity, this region have food secured areas and food insecure areas. Now, we have established an office here in Uganda, which is supported by $25 million project by the World Bank, which will help all the region, studying the challenges that the region is facing. You know that we have drought now in 3 countries, in Kenya, in Somalia, and Ethiopia. A lot of cattle are dying. That is an issue of climate issue that we always talk.
Speaking during a 3-day visit to Uganda, the Secretary General established that they are working on bilateral policies that will harmonize trade and investment in the region.
So we will work on the area of policy harmonization and integration in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of migration. So there are a lot of areas that we are working together. But most importantly, this region is very intact now. One is, working very closely with the other, and that is, I'm very happy that in spite of all the challenges, we are navigating.
In 1995, the Assembly of Heads of State and Government met in Addis Ababa, where they agreed to strengthen cooperation through organization. IGAD's key areas of concern were agriculture and environment, economic cooperation, regional integration, health and social development, plus peace and security.
We've been discussing quite a number of areas. One of the areas which we have been discussing is the role that IGAD has been playing in peace and security in the region of 270 million people. As you well know, this region has been bedeviled with a number of conflicts, and the significant role that IGAD has played has significantly lowered the risk in this region in terms of conflicts related to resource, conflicts related to politics, and we must now admit that the situation is much better than it was.
10.9 million people are experiencing acute food insecurity, that is in phase 2 and 3, of which 1.6 million, that is 5%, are in the crisis situation, which is phase 3 in Uganda. This is according to data by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification.
Yeah, that's a great one that was compiled by Rona Nahawe. According to the reports from IGAD, a great socio-economic challenge is due to food insecurity over there. So if we're going to have this security office here in Kampala, it will be very good. And according to officials, this office is going to be supported by $25 million, and that will be coming up from the World Bank. Now getting to another story here. We are going to talk about the public debt that is standing up to 48.4% and is expected to increase up to 53%. I saw the senior economist from the World Bank, Madam Rachel, saying that this money should be put, every borrowed money should be put to very many projects where we're going to record a return on investment. Let's have a look at this very story.
Uganda's public debt stands at 48.4%, approximately $24 billion. However, it is feared that would soar to 53%, $25 billion. Uganda has witnessed reduced gross domestic product because of the increased public debt that rose from $19.54 billion in the financial year 2020-2021 to $20.99 billion in the financial year 2021-2022. The external debt increased from $12.39 billion in the financial year 2020-2021 to $12.82 billion in the financial year 2021-2022, while the domestic debt also increased from $7.16 billion to $8.16 billion over the same period. In order to minimize the trend, Uganda invested $3.7 billion in fiscal bonds over a 20-year period that yielded $6.7 billion in income and taxes in 2022. Such a trend is worrisome for Uganda's economy. World Bank senior economist Ms. Rachel Sebude advised Uganda to reduce on public expenditure to enable the country invest more and reduce on the debt burden.
Most of the borrowing is for public investments. But Mr. PS, I didn't hear any mention in your remarks or the Minister of Finance's presentation about how to manage these projects. How do we choose the projects that we are going to invest in? How do we prepare them? And that comes to the question that she was asking. How do we implement them? Because at the end of the day, if you don't get a return on these investments, then you can't service the debt. At the end of the day, if you don't do these projects properly, they're supposed to be the catalyst. They're supposed to be close. First of all, we do them so that we can address the constraints that private sector is facing. So,
the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Mr. Ramadan Govi, revealed that government has instituted a tax exemption rationalization plan that enables increased investment and tracking of investors to boost revenue collection with effect from the next financial year, 2023-2024.
Put in place a plan, and we are implementing it beginning this coming financial year. A plan called Tax Exemption Rationalization Plan, to rationalize these exemptions, not to stop them, but number one, to put in place a criteria for accessing them. Number two, to put in place a tracking system to ensure that what an investor commits to do, he does it. If you don't do it, we stop. Then we may collect from you.
Mr. Gobi also called upon government to fight corruption, which is a serious danger to Uganda's economy. He advised government to digitalize the procurement process in order to promote accountability and transparency in public investment and financial management.
Big infrastructure projects being procured in small rooms. We need to put it on a platform to ensure that there is accountability. The same with our financial management and so on. It should all be automated. People shouldn't touch money. Special and forensic and performance audits work in fighting corruption, especially when you implement their recommendation. They work. Effective budget tracking and public financial management works.
For Uganda to pay its public debt, there is need to fight corruption, minimize imports, and attract foreign investment through a deliberate tax exemption rationalization plan.
Yeah, that's all about the public debt that is at 48.4%, and that is anticipated to increase up to 53% over there. Now we're getting to the East African community calling for open government procurement system over here, and they're trying to say that they want to cut, or they want to increase on accountability and curb corruption over there. Let's have this story.
The 14th East African Procurement Forum, which intends to improve on transparency and accountability in the East African electronic government systems, the open contract implementation will curb corruption within government officials to emerge strategic tool to increase contract transparency, monitoring, and aim at improving quality of governance, a better value for money, and reduce on corruption and increase service delivery and development to advance the agenda of integration. First Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Community says that the need for effective strong laws to be implemented in place to reduce on corruption in the interrogation agenda for the development across Africa.
To now make an audit of the contracts on the roads, on the infrastructure, how much of it has gone to the young people of this country, How much of it has gone to the women? And in terms of the quantum, how many of them can actually afford to bid in these procurements?
The Inspector General of Government in Uganda, Betty Kamya, says that the adoption of open procurement system will help countries to eliminate corruption.
Through legislation, through policy, to adopt open procurement systems. We must be forced through legislation and through our policy to embrace open procurement. That's the way to go. That's the way the whole world is going. And if we don't do it now, we shall be left behind.
The State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Henry Musasizi, reveals some of the benefits in the East African procurement, that there is efficiency, market protocol and free movement of goods, people and businesses in the integration process.
It enables various partner states deliberate on ways and mechanisms of integrating procurement, such that the partner states are able to procure together. You are able to come from Uganda and get a contract in Tanzania. You are able to come from Kenya and trade with Rwanda like that. What are the benefits of this? Efficiency, experience, market, name it. So these are some of the benefits we are trying to harness. In the integration, we are looking at all aspects, be it free movement of goods and people, free movement of businesses, and also what I need to talk about is harmonization of laws and policies.
The Executive Director of East African Procurement Forum, Mr. Benson Turamye, says that the forum will address challenges and partnerships and advance the agenda of the East African community for sustainable development through demanding accountability.
The concept of open contracting is an emerging strategic tool to increase contract transparency and monitoring, aimed at improving quality of governance, better value for money, reduced corruption, increased service delivery, and better development outcomes.
That's the East African community. East African community contains of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, and Rwanda, and they are calling for open procurement, whereby this is going to increase on accountability and try to curb corruption in these governments. Now we're getting to another story. Here, the government of Uganda has said that it's going to construct primary schools and secondary schools in every sub-county and parish that has got no schools over there. And this program is going to cost the government of Uganda over 1.98 trillion over there. Let's have a look at this very story.
The Uganda government introduced free universal primary education in 1997, but this has had mixed results as many parents are still reluctant to take their children to school. Government has decided to make both primary and secondary education free and compulsory for all from the 2024-2025 financial year. The State Minister for Education and Sports, Dr. Moriko Kaduchu, has revealed that government will construct 350 new secondary schools, each valued at 1.22 billion shillings, to improve on the learning environment.
There's going to be additional money required for implementation of comprehensive universal primary and secondary education. Number one, as government, we are going to establish primary schools in parishes and wards that do not have primary schools. And in total, we have 1,617 parishes that will need a primary school or government-aided schools to be established. And this will go along with a cost. And in total, we are going to require a total of 1.98 trillion. Each primary school will cost 1.22 billion to construct and operationalize, to make it operational. Number two, we're going to have established more secondary schools in sub-counties without secondary schools, and we have a total of 350 sub-counties without secondary schools, minus the current ongoing seed secondary school constructions.
Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, noted that many learners have dropped out of school due to high fees charged by the schools. This has prompted government to consider introducing free and compulsory education for all school-going children.
Yes, you can send your child to a private school where they pay, but the government should be able to provide education services that are free so that the parents, especially those who are poor, should be able to have their children access education. When you look at the law is very clear on the role of government, on the role of parents, on the role of foundation bodies, on the role of other stakeholders, the teachers, the management, and all of us should play our role. And therefore the Ministry of Education has estimated how much we need to put in the sector, and we took a decision that starting 2024-25 financial year, then we are going to strictly enforce free education for both primary and secondary education. And
Dr. Baryomunsi said that parents shall only be charged with the duty of providing scholastic materials and food, while government pays the dues.
And the method of feeding the learners that we have approved is through packed food. So we are sensitizing the parents that we need to use all possible modalities to see how best we can pack food for the learners. The issue of contributing food in kinds, contributing money for feeding has not been approved, and we are discouraging those methods. Because once we allow contribution in terms of food, there's going to be money for cooking, we need firewood, we need the cooks, we need the other things that will require charges levied on parents, which we are not allowing.
Minister Kaduchu also highlighted that government injected 830.6 billion shillings this financial year to cater for wages, capitalization grants and school development.
Yeah, according to the State Minister of Education, Kaduchu, says every school that is going to be constructed will take over 1.9 million over there if to be operated or to be worked upon or to be finished, to be put into the operation of there. And then that being said, we'll be going in for a short commercial break. When I come back, more of the stories will be coming up. When you stay around, this is the Business Edition.
Smart 24, driving business. Say goodbye to paperwork and travel costs. Now every MTN customer can register to invest in securities anytime and anywhere with Zabu in a few simple steps. Step 1. Dial *292#. Step 2. Select option 1. Register with Zabu. Step 3. Enter your full names. Step 4. Enter your national identification number. Step 5. Enter your national identification card number. In 24 hours, you will receive an SMS confirming your registration. Congratulations, you are now ready to invest.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel as you indulge in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, Our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at CSUN Hotel. So visit today at plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. CSUN Hotels, luxury redefined.
Jerry, hey, Master Blaster, touch him, man. Buy Jerry with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava, first group is I teach you. When I go to Muscari, because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Eh? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. Will you buy meat from Umaru? And Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Smart 24, driving business.
A warm welcome once again. The business edition is still on. Like I said, the government of Uganda has been cautioned to make sure that it makes uniform for the salary of all public servants. They are against the government's proposal of paying only scientists much more money compared to artists. Let's have a look at this very story.
The issue of teachers' salaries was emphasized by Honorable John Katwesijoy, chair of the Education Committee, when proposing the 52 billion shillings supplementary budget for the Ministry of Education. He explained to the Budget Committee that although it was suggested that all public employees' salaries be uniform, the government moved ahead and raised the pay of select science teachers, which was unfair.
Aside of the wages, additional money for paying scientists, in our recommendation of the Budget Committee, Education Committee, for the financial year 2022-2023, we recommended that the government pays all teachers across the board. Salary should be enhanced across the board.
The legislators on the Budget Committee have also acknowledged the discrepancies in the salaries of public servants, which is now reflected on the supplementary budgets.
It appears the executive has gone ahead to raise some money. But you hear people complaining because there is no sufficient money to pay scientists as promised. So which means this is not sustainable. Because if you cannot pay all the scientists as you promised, how are you going to deal with other teachers? So me, as a professor who does research, this policy of paying some few higher salaries is not sustainable according to our economy.
I want to agree with Dr. Fair. The issue of scientists, I think, has been poorly misconstrued.
Paying people who teach science more money does not make them better scientists.
On the other hand, the Committee of Infrastructure has also presented the supplementary budget of over 6 billion shillings for Ministry of Works and Transport. The committee chairperson of Fiscal Infrastructure has told the committee of the differences in the money that was presented for the construction of the Namugongo Shrine. According to Honorable Kasolo, Ministry of Finance presented a different amount from what Ministry of Works presented, as well as the contractor Rocco, which is still confusing to the committee, yet construction at the shrine needs to be done before June this year.
Rocco, to complete works, needed 6 billion plus. That was the estimate. The Ministry of Finance has offered 4 point plus. But as a committee, since we know what have you, the only issue which came to which was unfortunate was the engineering estimate. But giving them the money and what have you, and how the money is going to be handled and what have you, the committee was very contented. We were all about this discrepancies in the money.
The committee members, however, urged government to assume control of this responsibility to complete the construction work on schedule because it had already committed to finishing the project.
And this Namugongo facility is one such a facility that can bring the money to the economy very quickly. So when there is a window like this one, we need to support it because government has been reluctant. We say it in theory and in practice. It is slow.
Committees from different sectors continue to present their supplementary budgets as they prepare for the budget of the financial year 2023-2024.
Yes, those are the MPs of Uganda cautioning government to make sure that it pays all government servants a uniform salary. And that is going to happen there. I saw some MPs criticizing government that being a scientist doesn't make you a very good one. Let's see and wait what is going to happen over there. Now, Kampala Capital City Authority has approved over 423 million that is going to work on development over there. But according to officials over there, they said that the Chanja Agricultural Resource Center for Agriculture is the one that has taken the lion's share over there. Let's have a look at this very story.
A budget of 423.8 billion shillings was approved by the Kampala City Council Authority for the fiscal year 2023-2024. Of that amount, 83.6 billion shillings were suggested for the Chanja Agriculture Research Centre in the Kawempe division to support the Parish Development Model Programme, which aims to increase household incomes by 39%. Over 31 acres of land, the Chanja Agriculture Research Centre houses more than 5 projects, including a chicken farm, a pig farm, a vegetable garden with tomatoes and green peppers, and more. Furthermore, Mosh Sendi suggested that the budget for the Directorate of Gender, Community Services and Production be approved with modification and sent to the Council for additional review.
Yesterday, a further 83,600,000 shillings be reallocated from the Chanja project to support the youth, women, persons with disabilities and the older persons councils to set up agriculture enterprises in production and value chain to improve their livelihoods. That is 20.9 million per group every single year. I believe that makes sense because putting money into a farm where we don't see any outputs, we rather give it to those people that need it and get engaged in business.
Furthermore, Ms. Doreen Nyanjura, Deputy Lord Mayor for Kampala City, cautioned the committee that much as the Agriculture Centre is much needed, transparency has to be practiced by the committee.
And now you paid under KCCA, there's a program that is supposed to accommodate agriculture. So that is where 350 million was entirely allocated. It has only two vehicles. And these 2 vehicles consume fuel of 50 million. And then for maintenance, they cost 40 million. And then there was also an item of staff training. And our question in that committee was, which staff is being trained at Chanja? We thought the people who work there are already trained. So you find that the money is under program-based budgeting and it's given to a program which is not that important.
The Chanja Agriculture Research Center produces seedlings for crops such as tomatoes, sukuma wiki and sweet pepper, which they give free of charge to those registered for NED's program, while other members of the public buy the seedling cheaply.
Yeah, that's a great one coming from Kampala Capital City Authority, approving over 400 million over there in going into agricultural programs and agricultural development over there. They're saying that Chanja Agricultural Resource Center is going to get over 83 million to develop it. Now, getting to another story, President Museveni over the weekend was in Munyonyo, meeting over 800 delegates from Lahona International Business Forum. That is, this belongs to Indians who are staying here in Kampala, others staying in Congo, others staying in Kenya. But all these, Museveni said, he encouraged the need for value addition that is going to be done from here. He cautioned them that every time you come to do business here, or every time you come to Uganda to do business, there's no this tendency of getting raw materials and you take them to their countries. They have to add value from here. Let's have a look at this very story.
According to President Museveni, Uganda is rich in natural resources, and he highlighted 4 sectors like the pathogenic and manufacturing sectors, among others, that he encouraged the Indian investors to tap into. This indicates that Uganda has a significant amount of untapped foreign investment potential.
Electronics, that's another whole area that needs investment. Then you have the pathogenic, what we call the pathogenic economy. The human diseases are a problem, but they are also an opportunity. Again, there we are very busy with our own research. We are developing our vaccines, and we are developing our medicines from these herbs. Like when we had corona, our scientists discovered one substance called Covidex.
While at the Lohana International Business Forum in Munyonyo, Museveni reiterated the government commitment to promote value addition for Ugandan products rather than exporting raw materials. Lohana investors were assured of improved infrastructures like electricity.
Because this economy of Uganda can grow very fast to have a $1 trillion economy if you add value to all our raw materials. Because now we have got a large spectrum and quantity. We have got a wide spectrum and great quantities of raw materials.
Dozens of Lohana investors and first-time visitors to Uganda signed commitments to invest here. The chair of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, Audrey Rebogo, presented them before the president.
Uganda has many natural resources, a young, increasingly educated workforce, a steadily rising middle income and more stable in terms of governance, including macroeconomic policies, all of which makes an ideal destination for long-term investment. You can see some of us families came here 120 years and we are still here.
And gentlemen, Mr. Satish, Mr. Vijay Karya, Mr. Subhash Takrar, Mr. Vinay Dar.
The first one I'm calling is a company that wants to make gelatin or collagen from bones, crushing bones for export to India, The company is called India Gelatin and Chemicals. So come forward, Mr. Vireni Mirani. Just come forward.
Foreign direct investment decreased by 18.6% from $1.42 billion in financial year 2018-2019 to $1.2 billion in financial year 2019-2020. However, the International Monetary Fund projects a return to a pre-pandemic level of 4.9% growth of calendar year 2021. Uganda therefore maintains a liberal trade and a foreign exchange regime. Yeah, that was the president of Uganda when he was meeting Indian investors in Munyono who belongs to Lohana International Business Forum. Now I'll be going in for a short commercial break and I'll be right back. Stay around.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. The business edition is still continuing. Now here, Uganda has launched the first of its kind insolvency journal that is going to seek negotiation between creditors and struggling businesses. I saw the Minister for Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Bao, saying that if any bank is demanding you a lot of money, there's no need for why you should go in for hiding. It's now high time that this insolvency journal is going to help you because it will find you lawyers and find ways of negotiating between the two of you. Let's have a look at this very story.
It's called the Insolvency Journal of Uganda. It's basically a compilation of articles on insolvency regime, how to rescue a business, what mistakes you should not do, how other businesses survived, lessons, sharing experiences, the legal aspects, the chartered secretary aspects.
The World Bank endorsed the effective insolvency and creditor regimes principles, which place a strong emphasis on finding a delicate balance between corporate liquidation and reorganization, while facilitating simple conversion of processes. The main piece of legislation governing insolvency in Uganda, the Insolvency Act of 2011, has evolved to keep up with contemporary developments and offers administration and rescue options for both businesses and people. Norbert Mao, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, praised Uganda Registration Service Bureau and the participants who contributed to this innovation, which will prevent many enterprises from going under. He continues by saying that insolvent businesses can now apply for judicial protection and engage in negotiations with their creditors.
I call upon all the companies, when you have failed to pay your debts, don't go into hiding. We have laws in Uganda that can protect you. You may not even need to go to court. But now we are going to have lawyers who are experts to ensure that your relationship between those who have lent you money is restored.
The board chairman, Uganda Registration Service Bureau, His Excellency Ambassador Francis Botagira, indicated as the journal content is a very important article that will help in rescuing many ailing businesses in Uganda, which are many in light of the current economic struggles due to factors such as post-COVID-19 effects and rising inflation, to survive liquidation.
Is to help those ailing companies to be back on their feet. And we have built capacity in URSB. What we need to do is to communicate how can the public access our services. And this we are going to do in due course. But I can assure you quite a number of companies or businesses have been brought back to their feet.
The theme for this year's 6th Annual Insolvency Law Conference is Emerging Trends and Practices, Creating a Resilient Insolvency Regime. The government would benefit from economic stability by embracing procedures designed to save firms and addressing them with the utmost care and immediacy they require.
Of course, this was organized by URSB over there. So if any person is demanding you, or any bank or any financial institutions, this insolvency journal is going to help you to bring you together and find ways of protecting both of you. Now getting to another story here. Smallholder farmers have been told to increasingly adopt on agri-solar technologies for its climate change friendly. This was told by some of the smallholder farmers, most of them staying in different parts of Uganda here in Kampala. Let's have a look at this very story. Uganda has a significant potential for solar energy production due to its high levels of solar radiation of 4.5 to 5.5 kilowatts. Therefore, smallholder farmers have been encouraged to take advantage of this. However, how will they identify and co-create innovative models capable of driving wide-scale adoption and use of solar technologies in the agricultural value chain when they lack capital? According to Grace Nyakana, the team leader at Tulima Solar, adopting to solar technology is cheaper than using hydro or fuel, and that it's also more climate friendly.
If you wake up and the sun is there, you're able to do whatever it is you need to do, and that for a farmer it gives you reliability. It helps you cope with the climate changes that are happening around us, and then it's also cheaper for you in the long run. You're able to save on costs of power, of electricity. You don't even care whether there's power or there's electricity. You're able to do whatever it is you need to do.
Farmers, innovators, financial institutions and government agencies in the agri-solar ecosystem therefore gathered to unpack barriers to wide-scale adoption and use of solar technologies.
If you look at the initial cost and the total cost of ownership of diversifying the energy mix that this farmer is utilizing, it appears that of the renewable or alternative energies available today, solar becomes a bit more accessible. But one of the key things we're here to do today is to validate that assumption. We could be wrong. And so by hearing from the farmers, from the industry experts themselves, from the financiers, so on and so forth, one of the key things we want to confirm is, is there an opportunity to provide that support? If it's not an urgent issue, where else is this group of stakeholders saying we need to be focusing our energies? Ours is to then convene the innovators, convene support to these innovators.
Tulima Solar is that our water pump, the smallest water pump that would work for a farmer with 2 acres of land doing horticulture, could cost you 2.5 million, and that's an entire system with the 2-year warranty, installation, servicing, and all those after-sales services. So in the long run, when you look at it, it's actually quite affordable for a smallholder farmer.
According to experts, agri-solar can deliver a much more needed boost to sustainable rural development and can increase biodiversity protection. But are there some financing models that smallholder farmers can take advantage of to access capital at a low interest rate?
So I will speak for us and what we do. We offer financing for farmers that need to acquire solar water pumps. You just need to be able to make a down payment of about 25%, then you're able to just get your system and you're able to use it and pay as you go along. Because we understand that for a lot of farmers, you're not able to get the equipment that you use because it might be costly and you don't have all the money at once. So we offer that.
So what we're doing today with this agri-solar stakeholder conversation is to put different stakeholders from especially 3 key value chains. We're looking at dairy, at horticulture, at aquaculture, but we're really taking a holistic view of the agricultural sector. And what we're saying is that we have farmers in the room, we have farmer producer organizations, we have SACCOs, village savings and loan associations represented, you have your microfinance institutions, your main...
Uganda, like most African countries, is blessed to have access to abundant natural renewable energy from which clean electricity can be harnessed with the help of solar panel plates. Solar technological adoption in Uganda, however, remains very low despite government positive gesture through tax waiver. The key question is, why is it that the uptake of the solar technology is still very low in Uganda? Okay, those have been the stories that we managed to compile for you in our weekly bulletin today. Make sure that you get us on all our social media platforms. That's on YouTube, Smart24 TV Live, and also on Twitter. You can get us on Smart24 TV. Let's meet again next Sunday.